So, would you give a guy like me $1 billion? No? Damn it. Well, what if I was wearing these? What are those? I don't. What are those? I I I don't. Well, the truth is, what are those? Phew, much better, right? Am I right? These are my Space Cadet boots, standard issue. You know what I mean? Um, and honestly, like, I don't really like to complain about being broke. But honestly, the only reason I'm wearing these shoes is because I really don't have any other shoes left. And this is kind of the theme of this video series. But as someone for whom it is a bit tragic to not be taken seriously, uh, one thing I fear is being taken too seriously, actually, which seems to happen all the time. Like, and I'm pretty sure it's my fault because I complain about shit all the time. But seriously, would you please give me $1 billion? Please? No, I'm kidding, sort of. I don't actually just want to be rich, but I have like a ton of ideas that I'm extremely passionate about. I'm extremely creative. Yeah, a ton of people know that, um, but I don't actually have like any means of like building any of these like hundreds of profitable ideas. I don't know if every one of them would be profitable. Some of them would just be like fun, like two-player pinball, like competitive two-player pinball, like you're in a bar, like playing pinball. One player kind of sucks, you know. But if you could like play competitively, that would be kind of cool, right? That would be like a Kickstarter and probably sell like 5 of those. I mean, it'd be better than that, but anyway, so I'm gonna start out with Oscil8. So I'm gonna start out with Oscil8, and so that's a music production app that I worked on for 4 years, or really, I just wanted to build it for like 4 years. Like, I knew that there was a niche for this. I knew that eventually someone was gonna do it. It might not be me, but I was really early to the idea. It turns out that no one even touched this until like 2012, and it was early 2012 actually. I had the idea like in early or late 2011, and I worked on it on and off through early 2015. And so, what was Oscil8, anyways? Think open source music. Basically, Oscil8 was the GitHub of music. It's an inevitable idea, isn't it? But the app Splice.com was released in late 2013, and they basically built the GitHub for music production. And I'm not like really mad about the fact that they beat me to it. More so, I'm mad that I wanted so badly to build it and never even got the chance to do much more than talk about it. So what I wanted to build was so much more than Splice. It would involve machine learning for audio and music production. I had ideas like think Google Deep Dream for audio, for like music production. No, like really. And I'll get to these music AI ideas in just a second, but they would revolutionize music production. Uh, I'm still kind of pissed off that I didn't get to build this. Uh, and I also had some other monetizable ideas. I was really creative about finding ways to monetize this, because that's one of the most important aspects of a startup of an app, of an online business. I also had like other monetizable ideas for music, like cloud-based rack-mounted audio gear. So think like Moog synths and drum machines. Like Moog synths will run you like a couple grand. Uh, so it's really hard for up and coming musicians to create analog sounds. But you could, and analog sounds are like fundamentally different than digital sounds. So you can record analog sounds into digital, and they're still different than digital sounds recorded into digital. Uh, But anyway, so you could rent out this equipment on like a timeshare in the cloud that would connect to producers like digital audio workstations, their DAW software, and they would be able to rent time on this system to use the equipment to like generate samples that they can use for their songs. So it would probably be fairly profitable. It would be a very interesting problem to solve. It would be a great space to work in. Or you ruined it. So after Splice entered the market, I wanted Oscil8 to remain competitive. So I pivoted and I wanted to build like an app store for musicians. And with Oscil8, I always had this like long term vision of where I wanted to be. But in business, you can't just like immediately teleport to where you want to be. You have to have like a strategy and a path to get there. And it might not be like one to one with where you're going. Like the path that you have to take to get where you want might actually end up taking you somewhere else. But anyways, so what I envisioned would first be like a platform for musicians to collaborate on projects, like a GitHub for music, and then I would allow musicians to upload sounds that they're working on, so like kicks, snares, hi-hats, synthesizer patches, like synth pads, and you could also like upload like reverb effects that you're working on. And the focus here would be like the individual sounds that you're creating. And so musicians would upload a sample of that sound along with the files that they use to create it, and you could browse through streams of these sounds in the app, and you would hear like one sound play after another, and you could follow your friends, and you could follow famous musicians, and so like once I had this, then I would have a lot of data to sift through. I would have like the files that they created the sound with, and I would have the sound as well. And so I would know like, or I would be able to work on like artificial intelligence and like enable like Oscil8 to begin data mining on the music production data. So think like machine learning algorithms for music production, and so I would be able to like look at the parameters used to generate the sounds, and then like identify the best ways to tweak those sounds to produce new ones. Also, musicians would like be able to feature sounds in like an app store and make money by creating this music. So it would provide a great incentive for my users to use my platform and to remain on my platform, because they would be invested in the app store, and they would be getting income from doing what they love. So I was always like really so passionate about this. I'm still kind of like pissed off that like I was never really able to build it. But as far as I know, the stuff that I was thinking about in like 2012, 2013 was patentable, and some of it still might be. Like I don't really know that this stuff is really out there like anywhere. So I'm talking about like machine learning on synthesizer presets, and again, this works for software and hardware. And we would be doing stuff like automatically scanning in like MIDI sysx documentation from Korg, Moog, Roland, Yamaha, and I know you guys don't know what that is, but it like no like I don't think anyone's like doing this, and the fact that it works with like hardware is pretty cool, and this stuff is gonna like revolutionize music. Like if it hasn't started yet, and I'm sure there's like some producers who are aware of these tools. But as far as I know, like this hasn't really been done at scale, really, and that's what I was so excited about, like democratizing music production and allowing people to like profit from doing what they love, which is like just that's exactly what I want to do. But so anyway, could I afford those patents that I wanted? Nah, not really. Whenever I was like working on this, I was typically like unemployed with like a 2 month runway tops. So I worked on Oscil8 for like over a year in this app store / AI forum. But for the competition, it would probably be like too easy to just like release a feature or two and basically kill my product. So the most important aspect of the app store / AI form of this business, which was a pivot from the GitHub for music production, is to be able to establish that platform that people are using, which is really convenient. Like if you like launch the GitHub for music production. So anyway, like I was afraid that it would be like too easy for my competition to basically just like release a feature or two and basically like kill my product. And I know what you're thinking. You know, like if you worked on Oscil8 all that time from like 2011 to 2015 for about 4 years, you should probably have something to show for it. And that's like what is so irritating is that like I really don't. Like I have like some like code from like 2011, some code from 2012, but I was never really able to work on Oscil8 full time. Keep in mind that during that time, I've only been like driving since like earlier this year. Like my entire adult life, I've like driven less than I haven't driven for like license suspensions or whatever. Like lately, it's just been kind of like my personal choice. Up until of course earlier this year. But not driving is like a major impediment. Like if like and typically like when I'm unemployed, I'm living at home in Roanoke, and I love it here, but it's really hard to get around if you don't have a car. And also, like during this time from 2011 to 2015, I moved 12 times, and I was even like homeless for a short 2 weeks in Boulder. I lived in Virginia Beach, Albany, Salem, Denver, Boulder, and Raleigh. Uh, and I promise I'm going to get to more of my ideas in just a minute. I don't really want to just like spend a ton of time bitching about all the stuff that happened in the past. But I could just never really get like stable enough to in a full-time job to have a side project. Because I felt like I really needed to make that full-time job like my number one priority for at least like 3 to 6 months, and then like after I've like established myself there, then I would like be able to work on the side as well. But I wanted to make sure if I'm moving to New York 12 hours away, or if I'm moving to Denver 25 hours away, that like I'm giving it my all at my full-time job, and every time that I was. But I always found myself like pushed out pretty quick with like just enough runway to risk it for like 2 months. And each time that I did that, I exhausted that runway pretty quick. And then after that, like I would have like a little bit of a support for my family, but I was under like tons of pressure from them to get a job. Like no one like really like coming back to that theme of being taken seriously. No one really took me seriously. I'm like I'm saying like I have like a $10 million minimum business to revolutionize music production. Nobody wants to listen to me. Like nobody wants to like take me seriously. I'm telling you, like $10 million minimum. Splice, I'm looking at their angel list right now. Seed funding, almost $3 million. Series A funding, $4.5 million. If you know a little bit about those investments, I mean that means that they've taken in about like $7 million, and that's for like percentages of their company. So knowing that they took in $7 million over 2 rounds, like that's at least like they're worth like at least like $50 million, going on my gut without like doing a little bit more research on those deals. If I looked at the percentages, I could like get a lot closer to what it exactly is. that could have been me. But I was never really able to convince anyone to co-found this with me. And I made a lot of mistakes in getting help and getting started. I mean, I've been trying to do startups since like 2007 before I even like knew to call it a startup. Like at that time, like I knew like I don't really know what I'm doing. And that's what kind of got me started on this journey was like I realized like, hey, I really want to do something like this, and I don't know where to start. And that was 2011. I got a lot closer in 2011 by learning from like Zach Miller and the guys at We Are Titans and everyone in New York. They really helped set me on the right path. But I still like every year like I learn a lot more about what I've done wrong and what I can do better. And so I've made a lot of mistakes in like trying to find like co-founders, and I'm the technical founder. So like I always have to have my head down building a product that no one's ever seen before, and it's like extremely complicated. And then it's really hard to do that and like build your business like holistically, especially like if you're the only person and the technical founder. I mean, it is incredibly challenging to do that. And I don't understand like what like I had such a selling point with Oscil8. Like we'd get the chance to work like with our favorite musicians, and we would change music production forever. Like totally revolutionize music production. Who the fuck wouldn't want to do that? Like what kind of upside down world am I living in right now? Like seriously. Like I talked to a lot of people about this, and I was like trying to be like I tried to expose just enough of my idea to make it enticing, and it's like one of those mistakes. But I never like could like I'm like real cautious about who I'm gonna work with. And I mean there's just like so many factors that like would draw me away from the path that I needed to be on. Um, and so I never really had any like funding or much interest in helping me out until like late 2014. And interestingly, it's a funny story. I was once like accused of stealing the idea for Oscil8 at Hackathon in 2014, and I won't say where it is, but like I couldn't even tell if this guy was serious or not. Like we were just at the event, like we had just started the event, and everybody was like outside. Like I don't even think people had like registered yet, and we were just like kind of talking about like what we were gonna work on, and I mentioned my idea, and it ended up being like similar to his, but I just like barely put mine out there. I said like music producers will be able to upload short samples along with the sounds that they use to create those files, and like I didn't get into any of the machine learning stuff because that is hard to come up with. Like anyway, that's the secret sauce right there. You're gonna get a Anyway, so this guy like compared me to the Winklevoss twins. He made a comment about the Winklevoss twins in front of some other people, and I just replied like, yeah, but like which Winklevoss twin am I? I thought it was kind of funny because like I'm like, oh, but like I'm a Winklevoss twin, and maybe you are too. We don't know who stole each other's idea. And I don't like hold any hard feelings against this guy. Maybe it might seem that way, but I mean I really don't. I mean the guy just like made a comment. He didn't dig deep enough and ask the right questions to realize that my idea was like really different from his, and I think they're still working on their app, and good for them. I really wish that we could have like worked together, but again, like I couldn't drive to like get like about an hour away, like to really do that. It's like hard to like drive an hour away when you don't have any money. All right, y'all, that's the end of part one. Part two is going to deal more with the artificial intelligence and machine learning ideas that I had for Oscil8, which include like some pretty cool stuff. You'll just have to watch the video to find out. I'm actually working on a new startup called Voxel, and it lets you impersonate people from like Saturday Night Live. It lets you impersonate like politicians. You can do accents, and it will score your impersonation, and it'll score your accents, and coming out real soon, so stay tuned for that. Hit the subscribe button, and stay tuned for part two.